Hello, gentlemen.
Right, we should be live here. All right. Hello, Internet. What's going on, everybody? Sorry we're running a little bit late. We actually gave the dog a haircut this evening. It went a little bit long, and I'm got a really nasty headache. So we're going to see how we do here tonight. Took some headache stuff, and hopefully it'll help out. But depending on how this being on the checking the screen out and doing all that kind of stuff bothers it. It might be a short show because my eyes feel like somebody's squeezing my eyes right now.
Well, maybe you might not want to do it then, dude. If it's going to cause you comfort.
No, we're okay. Hey, I took something. Hopefully, it'll just kick in here. I just usually it bothers me after a while anyway, and so starting out with a headache usually doesn't help. But we'll see what happens. We got a couple articles to talk about. If anything else pops up, like always, let's talk about it. But I saw, we got the Great White Hunter in here, the turkey slayer himself.
That's right.
Shot a turkey in poor Roll-Call's backyard. Horrible. Can't believe you do that.
Now, come on, Roll-Call can't even do that.
Poor guy. Sent him over the edge. Haven't seen him since he got the news. He might be running naked through Indiana right now, screaming like a turkey.
He might.
Yeah. We'll see.
That is a bad mental image.
Yeah, right. So you got Gizzard.
As long as it doesn't stick its head up and gobble at you, we'll be all right.
Yeah, right. Pickle and Budget. Gizzard, what's going on, buddy? How's it going?
It's going pretty well. Thanks for the invite, man.
What's going on with you, Pickle? Hanging out on the porch. Still daylight there. It's nice. What is it, 8 o'clock there?
Yeah, that's where. It's just a couple minutes after 8 here, so that's where the sun will be down here before too much longer. But weather's been beautiful today. That's where I think high was only in high 70s, low 80s. So I've been out outside as much as possible today.
Oh, that's awesome, man. What's going on with you, Pickle? Hanging out on the porch. Still daylight there. And Budget, what's going on with you other than laying down some turkeys?
Here, so that's right. The sun will be down here before too much longer. Weather's
Someone's got a
yeah.
That's okay. Someone should probably mute up.
Outside as much as possible today.
Oh, that's awesome, man. All right, I don't know who that is, but I muted you. Home slice there. So, Budget, other than laying turkeys down in the woods, what do you got going on? Anything?
I taught my first concealed carry class today. Well, I was one of the teachers. I wasn't just me. It was me and the guys from Spoon CCW. It's my local gun shop. I went there and helped them teach the class today. It's pretty cool. I enjoyed it.
Very neat. So how many people did you have?
16.
Oh, cool. Very neat. So, do you guys go to a facility to do that, or?
We there's a classroom at the gun store in the back, and then for the range portion, we go to our local sportsman's club.
Oh, very nice.
Took everybody out there and spent the range portion out there. It was really odd to go there and not be shooting.
Yeah, watch other people shoot.
Where, in Ohio, that's where, roughly, just kind of, general terms, what all is involved in your guys' CCW class?
It's basically the NRA basic pistol course, plus a little bit more that's Ohio specific. As far as going over the Ohio laws and whatnot.
So do you guys need a course to get your CCW, or you're just teaching a CCW course for people that might happen to want it? You do need it?
It's a requirement, yes.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. It's cool.
Yeah, it was was real fun. It was real fun. Thankfully, I have experience teaching classes anyway, because at work there for a good long time, I was one of the trainers at our basic academy. And so I used to teach the safety and security and our use of force, verbal de-escalation, self-defense, and juvenile rights. So speaking in front of a 16, 17, 18 people, whatever, that was like nothing. The only real thing that was not super familiar to me, given that it was my first time, was the material. But, you got PowerPoints and books and all that good shit. So it was good to go. It was good. I liked it.
Do you teach the throat clearing technique?
The what?
The throat clearing technique to get someone's attention.
Yes. That's how you get the young criminals to do something to give you an excuse to restrain them. As you clear your throat a little bit, make them mad, and then they come at you.
No, I find it hard to believe that you would do anything like that.
Never.
The great
come on now, put your hand on their back. Come on now, time to go to your room.
It's
resist.
It's the great Polar Pop incident of 2019. It's been all over the news.
Was it 2009? Was it in 2019 or was it 2018? Hell, I don't remember.
It had to have been 19, right? That couldn't have been that long ago. I don't know.
You wouldn't think.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that one's going to live on for a while.
Yeah, I'm sure. Particularly with people who won't let it go.
Oh. Poke your finger at us. Glimtech, what's going on? You had a class today too, didn't you? Or was that last week?
Ladies classes. No, it was yesterday. Ladies class.
Oh. This guy's a ladies.
It turned out to be pretty much a whole lot of nothing.
Ladies, man. Why is that? Nobody took the class?
They only had 3 show up. They do a monthly thing.
Oh, okay.
And since we have a Wu flu going on right now, why we have no idea, but everybody's scared.
Yeah. Well, things are starting to open up.
Ohio's CCW is a little bit different than Arizona's. They actually eliminated the shooting portion of it for the Arizona CCW classes. So technically, you don't have to teach that. So you can do the class, basically classroom only for 4 hours.
I don't recommend people do that. I heard a story about an old man that he was doing the shooting portion, and he had to ask the instructor, "Where's the target?"
Oh,
Just point me to it.
Yeah. It's not required anymore, but I still do it. And usually, what I do is usually mine's a day on a range. I usually do a day of classroom, and my classes are usually 2 days. So I do a day of classroom and an actual full day at the range. We do the first 2 hours in the morning for over safety, and then we shoot. So I usually tell them that you bring a couple hundred rounds with you because you're going to go through them.
Shit, I got hit with the ricochet when I was doing mine.
Yeah, we shoot paper, we shoot steel. I actually get them to move and actually do something instead of just standing there twiddling their thumbs. Works out pretty good.
It's a lot easier now in Texas. It's not an 8-hour full day like it used to be, or it's only 1 8-hour, and like it used to be longer. I think it's 5 hours, something like that. It's been a while.
Heck, our state 16 hours is our minimum, and that has to include classroom and range.
16 hours.
It used to be 12.
That's what it used to be.
Now they got it down to 8.
Wow. Can you do it all in one day? You can get it all done in one day, or no? For 8 hours.
Yeah, that's what we did today.
Okay. I didn't know if sometimes they wouldn't make it a full 8 hours, but so Glimtech, how's your inventory doing out there? Are you getting anything new in, or are you still pretty much cleaned out?
I ain't got a squat. Nobody's shipping. Nobody has anything.
Yeah.
Like I said, the problem is, us small timers, we don't get anything. The guys that
I
are
need toilet
turning,
paper.
30, 40, 50,000 a month, they get top priority and everything, and we get the leftovers if there is any, which right now isn't anything at all.
I
Well,
know,
But at least
you don't have
at
to
least the
compete with
rush,
California anymore.
at least the rush out here kind of died off. We don't have that everybody in panic mode right now.
I know Yankees got like 5 or 6 of the Rugers backed up trying to get them for the pistol project. He said he thought they were going to be in this week, but he said I don't know if he got them or not. He just said they're so backed up. Ruger's not getting them out fast enough.
Yeah, I actually had 2 that were actually bought and paid for before this even started.
Mm.
And the distributor shut down for first. It was going to be for 10 days, and then it turned out to be another 2 weeks on top of that. And they were supposed to start shipping they were supposed to start shipping April 20th. Then they push it back now to May the 1st. So supposedly they're back open, and they're just starting to get shipping going again. But so maybe by July I might be able to see that stuff. Maybe.
Yeah.
But I
Ed,
got ammo.
oh, do you? Well, there you go.
Yeah, I got ammo.
So what are prices looking like ammo wise? I mean, what's happening? From your end, from the inside here. I mean, are prices going up from the factory, or is it staying pretty steady?
They're going up from the factory. Like I said, before this even started, we got our letters from Federal and from CCI, and basically from everybody, saying that prices are going to be. There's a price increase coming. It was going to be in June, but since this whole mess started, they said it's going to be a little bit earlier. So basically, our it went up about $100 a case from what it was
wow.
9mm. Because 9mm we were
Wow.
getting right around 179, 180 for a case. Now it's almost $300 a case.
Man, we're gonna start seeing some $450 9mm or what?
No, it's pretty much all capped
cases?
off now. That's pretty much what capped off now. You'll catch some sales. Maybe you'll get $350 a case. Maybe about $250 a case if you get lucky. However, 22, like I said before, 22. If you have access to it, make sure you grab it now. Because once that's gone, they're not going to be tooling back up for 22 until it was supposed to be February of next year. Now they're pushing it back till May of next year. So whatever's out there is out there. If you don't have it,
yeah.
So basically, 22, get what you can, and everything else, maybe start rolling your own. Because if it's getting to be that high, even for 9mm, I mean, it might start becoming more cost prohibitive to load 9. Because cost was always a big reason why I would never want to load it. Because you couldn't load it for what you could buy it for, but you might be able to now.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Because I talked to a couple of reloaders. Primers skyrocketed. Powders out the window. Brass. If you go once fired brass is almost doubled in cost. They're getting to powder if you can find it, and that's the big thing. You can't find powder anymore. That's
You see all the brass. You see all the brass. You see all the brass hawks at the range now.
Oh,
catching your rounds.
Yeah, our range, we actually had to take our brass buckets and we actually have to lock them up. We used to leave them out, and then once every couple of days we take the brass buckets, take them in the back, and swab them out. Nope, we put them out in the morning.
I'll be using, for my own stuff, I'll be using some kind of brass catch. If I start seeing, and I, bolt action, I just easy because I take each case as it comes out and I, drop it in my bin, in my own carry box or something next to me. If I see someone trying to steal some, brass out of my box next to me, there's going to be some words exchanged.
We use the brass buckets because we exchange it then. We get a couple bucks for it, and that goes into range improvements and.
Has anybody shot herders? I've shot herders ammo before, but I've never shot their 22. Has anybody shot their 22? I don't know who's making it now. I have heard that somebody S&B used to make their stuff, but I'm not sure if they still are.
Is Herders a regional brand or what? I've never heard of it.
It's Cabela's. It's Cabela. Well, years ago they used to be their own brand, and then they closed shop, and I guess Cabela's bought their label, and S&B was making it, but now Bass Pro Shop bought Cabela's, so you can buy it at through Bass Pro Shop too. But I'm not sure if S&B is still making it. I saw online somebody said that they weren't, but I don't know if that's true or not. But I just didn't know if you guys had ever, if anybody, I mean, Budget, you would be able to get it. You're on the East Coast. Glimtech, you might have gotten it back in the day when you were still around here. I don't know.
The only thing I remember about Herders was they made shotgun shells. I used to see them.
Yeah, they make everything. Yeah, they make a lot of stuff. I mean, and they're inexpensive. They're not. I've shot some of their 9mm, and I've shot. I guess I've shot 40 from them too, and 38, and I've never had any issues with them. It's fine. The brass is fine. I've checked it out. As far as like a reloader goes. Uplift is saying Herders is some Eastern Bloc ammo. No, it's not. It's not. It's not like Russian made or anything like that. I don't know about if they make a steel case, they could, but
Tula was making ammo out of turkey for a while when the shit hit the fan about 5 or 6 years ago, and it was brass ammo.
So, I don't know. Everything I've shot from them, but I've never shot their 22, and I know they're doing 22 for like super cheap right now. You can buy it through Bass Pro. So I was thinking about buying a block of 500 just to have it floating around. Not that I shoot a whole lot of 22, but just like you're saying, it's not, it's nice to have it. So, Edge, what's going on, man?
Well, just surviving, man. Just doing there and trying to keep my head clean. As far as being Texas opened up officially, but it's still restricted to certain aspects. It's not like you can go back and just go to a restaurant and shoot the shit like you can before. They opened the movie theaters and so on. But now I'm just staying at the house and trying to keep my daughter and my family safe, and working on little projects here and there in the house, and trying to get caught up. But no, other than that, I have some videos in mind. Again, a couple other new things, and then also I have a lot of gun stuff I need to get caught up on. I have stuff from like 4 years ago that I haven't done, and I haven't put down on video that I just need to get done.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, man, have fun with it for sure. Is not being able to take brass from the range a brass tax? Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. There's
the ranges.
I haven't.
That's most of the ranges around here, indoor or outdoor, if your brass goes over the fire line, then it basically belongs to the range because it's not safe to retrieve it. If it lands behind, you can pick up your own. I've heard of some ranges, as soon as your brass hits the ammo, they consider it theirs, and if you pick up a piece of your own, they'll actually consider it stealing, which to me is a bit of a load, but what can you do?
Yeah, that's bullshit. I mean, yeah, the range I go to, they're cool with it. They're, as long as you, they actually leave like the big wide sort of moppy looking brooms. The wisp, like the big push brooms, but the ones that look like mops almost. They leave a couple of those in the indoor. Yeah, exactly. They leave them right there at the range, and you can call a ceasefire and go out and sweep the range if you want to. And we don't have range masters there either. I mean, you're there on your own. You're doing your own thing. But they're okay with that. And same thing outside. You can pick up. You don't have a problem with it. They do. I don't know what they do to it. I don't know what they do with the brass that they get. Tell you the truth, I can't remember. I did hear once. They don't recycle it, but they probably sell it. They probably sell it as once fired, I would imagine.
Most ranges do.
Gizzard says his range. Yeah, said his range you can keep your own, but can't take anyone else's. I don't know that it matters. I don't know. I'm not sure what they would do if you're. I know I've picked up stuff there.
Well, that's what the agreement you sign, quote unquote, says. In practice, I don't know that they pay any attention. There's nobody out there. So.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at the ranges here where I'm at, they have those rules where you don't pick up anybody else's. But how can you really tell? And it's obvious when you're on the floor picking everybody else's and just hoarding it up. But that's
yeah.
Yeah, if everybody's shooting 9, it's pretty darn hard to tell what's yours and what's the guy next to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, in answer to your herder's ammo question, it started its life in the Czech Republic. It was rebranded under Seller and Billet.
Right.
And in 2011, it has been rebranded and is actually being made now in the United States through Winchester.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it is being done in the USA through Winchester.
Okay. I knew it was at one time it was Cellier, it was the S&B.
Yes.
Yep. I didn't know that Winchester picked it up. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah,
like I said, originally it was Czech Republic. So the other whoever said that it was Eastern Bloc, originally it was Czech Republic originally.
Okay.
Is Winchester owned by Odin still?
What's that?
Is Winchester still made by Odin as the parent company?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, I
think so. I think it says.
I don't think that ever changed.
I think it says Odin on the box. Yes.
I remember there was the way like in the mid '80s or something.
Olin, not Odin. It's Olin. O-L-I-N.
My bad.
Yeah, because I have a box of 5.56 here. Made in the USA, Olin, Illinois. That's cool. Well, that's good to know that it's an American. It's made in America now. That's pretty awesome. So that's cool. I think I saw it was like $20 for 500. I was like, for $20, I'll buy a block of it just to have it. Just I mean, the little guy's eventually going to learn to shoot.
Yeah, they say it's actually pretty decent. It's pretty decent ammo, especially the handgun stuff. Couple people.
I have to tell you that the Winchester Longbeard XR turkey loads work great. Shameless plug.
Man with experience.
Now that was a shill, for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that wasn't just a shill. That was an Uber shill. If I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it
hey,
right.
I can't believe if I was gonna have someone. If I was gonna have someone willing to, loan me, shotgun and ammo with the, agreement, go out hunt this and then post on social media how successful, how much you liked it. Hey, I would not be above doing that. Don't get me wrong. I may be
there was no quid pro quo other than, hey, tell them that you use this, and well, that's what I did. There was no show how awesome it was and this and that and the other. If it sucked, it sucked. But the hell of it is, the combination worked really great for me. So that's what I can.
Yeah,
that's what I can say, because that was the truth. Now, if it had blowed, then it would have fucking blowed, and that would have been it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm busting your chops on that budget, but that's for given the opportunity to do that same deal, you better believe I would have made that same deal.
I remember Freedom was really pushing.
I see his lips moving and I don't hear him.
I remember Freedom pushing their ammo quite a bit to a lot of YouTube channels there for a while, and some people made some honest reviews about it. I don't know now. I've never shot their ammo, but I remember my buddy shooting it, and several people saying they just had nothing but trouble with the 9mm.
Yeah, I heard that the other day too. And I've used a lot of Freedom ammo. Matter of fact, the one store I used to work at, we used to sell it all the time, and never ever had a single solitary complaint. I've gone through maybe about 4 or 5 thousand rounds of the Freedom munition stuff, and never had a single problem. But again, I guess depends on where you are in the world, and if you got a bad lot or something, that's always possible.
Yeah, that's where trying to, like, say you
No
got,
budget, you're muted. We can't hear you.
yeah, shooting one 50-round box, having some issues, and trying to say that the entire company's trash. That's a pretty small, amount of data, especially for a company that's producing God knows how many tens of thousands of rounds. But yeah, that's where I'm kind of on that. And so I've never shot Freedom, just not because I've got anything against them. I just haven't come across it on the shelf. But yeah, I would pick up. If I picked up another box of a different lot and had the same issues with it, then I'd start to get suspicious.
Budget, you're muted. Can't hear you. Your lips move, but nobody can hear
No,
you.
he's not. He's not muted. I
Now
think
you
it's
can
his
hear me.
mic. There you
It's like
go.
comfortably numb.
Oh, there you go. That's better.
Now
But
you
yeah,
can hear me.
same way too.
Freaking
Yeah,
piece
now
of
I can
crap.
hear you.
You know what I did?
I said, but,
I
same
accidentally
same
pressed the
thing.
mute button on my mic. Dumbass.
See?
There you go.
But yeah, you go through. Yeah, you
Because
go
I
through
am
3,000 rounds, and you have problems with 2,000 of them. That's a problem.
Out of all the ammo I've shot, the only one I ever had, and it was a 1911 issue, was tool ammo, the 45 steel case, out of a standard 1911, or even my para. That thing, it broke an extractor in my buddy's Colt Commander, old vintage Colt, and it messed up. It would lock up in my para, and people told me that I'm full of it, blah blah blah. I'm saying I'm just reporting you what I said. I'm not saying the ammo's trash, because I understand people shoot through Glock 21s all day on that thing and have no problems. But it was just that steel case ammo on the 1911 just didn't add up for my experience. And again, I'm not saying that to everybody.
Yeah. No, there's ammo that doesn't work in certain guns. There's certain guns that just don't like certain things. My 9mm has eaten everything I've ever put in it. I've put aluminum through it just to see what would happen. I've shot steel case through it just to see what would happen. Everything is fine except Remington UMC. For some reason, once or twice a box, I'll get one that won't extract. I'll either get a stovepipe or it's just a failure to extract properly for some reason or another. I don't know why. Nothing else. I've got a couple thousand rounds through it, and that's the only thing that I've ever had problems with.
That's where, what kind of handgun do you have in 9mm?
That's my Bursa, my full-size Bursa.
Okay.
And I've never had any kind of issue. With any kind of ammo, hollow point, any kind of FMJs. And like I said, I've even shot like a couple boxes of aluminum case and a couple boxes of steel case. And Remington, it's every once in a while it'll foul up. I don't know why. It's really weird. Just it happens. I mean,
yeah,
super reliable other than that.
From what I have heard, someone was talking about I think it was Edge saying with the steel case was, in his 1911, Tula, yeah, it's in the 1911. My understanding is steel case is going to be more of those. If your gun is going to have an issue, it's more likely with the steel case, but doesn't mean that it's going to be for every firearm or every type of steel case. It's just kind of a general trend, is what I've been told.
Steel just acts different than brass. I mean, it makes sense that some guns are going to have issue with steel. Steel doesn't expand the same. It doesn't contract the same. It is what it is. I mean, if you can run it. If you can't, you can't. And people say it could be a little harder on your extractor and stuff like that. I mean, that makes sense because it's harder than brass. It makes sense that could be good.
See, my buddy was talking shit because I was jamming up in my para He's I'll put that Canadian trash gun down. Let me show you what an American Colt can do. And I go, okay, well, we give you your gun. So then I start shooting, and every time, like it shot twice, and then it locked up, and then why is it locking up after every round? And I look at the gun, I go, dude, the fucking extractor is gone. It broke off the tip. And he's like, he looks at me, you freaking a-hole. And I'm like, hey, you're the big shot that said shoot it through my gun. You know, it can handle anything. You're, you know, expensive Colt. And then I did do a YouTube video or YouTube little research and found out how to put the extractor back in and tune it. And I got lucky. I was drunk as a skunk that night and actually got it to work, you know, putting it together. But it worked thereafter.
Yeah.
It didn't break.
Hey, Glimtech, aren't you the one that generally says, you know, the problem with ammo in a 1911 usually is the 1911, not the ammo?
Most of the time, that's the case. There are a few exceptions every now and again, but 9 out of 10, it's usually the gun and not the ammo. Usually.
I love all guns. I'm a big 1911 fan, but I carry a Glock, you know, a 9mm and like Gen 9 or the Glock 19, you know, because of its reliability. And I do carry a 1911, and it's proven, but is what it is.
Yeah, well, like I said, you were talking about issues with ammo. I have a Glock 26. I can throw anything I want through that, with the exception of Winchester aluminum. I throw Winchester aluminum in there. It doesn't matter what it is. Every third or fourth round, it won't extract or double beats.
Yeah.
So I gotta sit there and play with it.
Yeah,
Glock. So yeah.
Yeah, one of these days I need to add a Glock and a 1911 to my collection because I currently don't own either.
Yeah. So out in the chat, Revolver was saying about these murder wasps. Those things are freaking monsters. If you, let me show you these things. I'm sorry, murder hornets. Look at these things. They're like 2 inches, 2.5 inches long or some shit. And we're going to be apparently fighting these and Terminators at some point in our lives. So maybe having a case of birdshot at the house wouldn't be bad, because I'm thinking that's what you're going to need for something like this.
Yeah, that's where, like, you know, 22 Plinkster posted a thing on his Instagram that he's been practicing this all his life. You know, the birdshot 22 long rifle shells out of his, revolver 22.
Yeah.
That's where he's been going after
Yeah.
wood bees for years. So now he just gets a harder target.
Yeah, brutal. I mean, and then they started talking about.
Who in the hell thought it would be a good idea to bring these things here?
Well, they're also talking about like the snakehead and stuff like that, the fish. And this Revolver said, did he say? He said, what's a snakehead? Oh, no. He said, it was a guy that said, I've never seen a snakehead in person, but honestly cannot understand why they would bring it over. They brought it over because they are they're used medicinally by Asians. The Asian culture. It's just another one of those weird things that they feel gives them
another flu we're gonna get.
Yeah, superhuman strength or whatever the hell they think it's going to give them. So they were bringing them over here, and they were raising them indoors in aquariums. And people would come in and buy them, take them home, cook them, and it was like, whatever for them. If I don't know if it was an aphrodisiac or if it was supposed to be for some sort of health benefit or whatever. They weren't allowed in the United States. They were banned because they're super aggressive and super invasive. They just wipe out anything and everything in an aquaculture. And not only that, they can live in water that's super low oxygen. So these things, they throw them, and what was happening was they would, if they had them and they thought they were going to get in trouble for having them or something, they would take them and they just dump them in ponds and they dump them in rivers and stuff to get rid of them. And these things can live in like crazy, crappy water. They're just super strong. They can live in really low oxygenated water. So whatever these people were throwing them in, they were just wiping out everything in these lakes and ponds and rivers.
You can kill hornets with soapy water.
There you go. Yeah, somebody was saying that soap water with a hose. So that's why we're dealing with snakeheads down south here. Now they apparently they taste really good. I don't know. I've never had it. I've never fished for them. They're super aggressive though, so they are really fun to fish for apparently. But yeah, they wipe out entire populations of ponds and stuff.
Dude, I was driving back from a client's house like probably about 10, 12 years ago. A beautiful day, fresh country weather, Texas, nice breeze. So I said, let me open my windows, roll my windows down, and just enjoy the weather. And I'm wearing my Oakleys, and all of a sudden I feel this big ass bump on my freaking nose, right above my frame, and hit the middle part of my Oakleys glasses. And then I look down on the ground, and it's a big ass hornet. I don't know if it's the one we're talking about, but another one, and it split it in half because of how fast it was going, and it was on my floorboard, under my feet. And it's and I got to the gas station, pulled over, and the top half was looking at me like, I'm gonna kill you, you mother, and the other half split. But if that big ass thing would have stung me, man, the only thing that saved me was some pair of freaking sunglasses, man, when it popped me right in the face and broke it in half. God dang.
I was riding my motorcycle and hit a hornet at 50 miles an hour once, right in the face. It hit me in the face. It was right between my eyes. My entire face swelled up. I couldn't go to work for 4 freaking days. It was so bad. Dude, you were so lucky that hit your glasses. Trust me, that shit hurt.
Oh, man, I know.
Yeah.
I took a locust between the eyes at 70 miles an hour on a motorcycle. Almost passed out.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you're still alive.
I am too.
No. Open face helmet, no helmets for these guys.
Well, I had a closed face. I had a full face on mine, but I took it right in the throat with something big and nasty. I don't know what the hell it was. Who knows?
Double giggity.
Yeah, the windscreen. It must, you get a little. It just must have skimmed the windscreen, came down enough just to get underneath my face and face guard, and oh my god, yeah, it does, man. It hurts like hell, man. I think I was doing I wasn't going super fast. I was probably doing 50 or something, but yeah, I almost hit a deer too. A couple of weeks after that, I almost hit it. I could have reached out and grabbed it. Scared the shit out of me.
It's all day here in Texas, man. Between you get up and you get up, you're going home right about 6:37.
Yeah,
you might hit something, a deer.
Yeah, I locked up the back, and I mean it was close. I could have reached out and probably grabbed his tail as he ran across the road, but I had to stop. Face mask was all fogged up from breathing. You know what I mean? It scared the hell out of him.
I've come so close to a deer on a bike, I could have kicked it in the ass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was real close to it.
Yeah, that's true. I've never ridden a bike on the street. I've only ever done a little bit of dirt bikes. And my dad back in talked about when he was pre-family, that's where him and my uncle used to ride a lot. That's where full cafe, that's when they would have leathers and full face, whatnot, just for good measure. That's where, I guess, what he was saying, what hurt the most out of anything that ever got hit by because he never hit a deer or anything. But that's when you're doing 70, 75 and you catch a dragonfly in the middle of the chest and going down the freeway.
Yeah, it hurts.
Feels off the bike.
Yeah. Yeah, it hurts like a bitch. Yeah. So we talked about those. I got a couple articles here to talk about. Something we talked about something a year ago or so now. I remember we were talking about it a lot. Was the fact that sorry, let me screen share this. Banks were deciding to not loan to people, in the firearms industry and stuff like that. And that was, a big deal. I mean, that's a company deciding that they don't want to loan to a business that's 100% law abiding. What's wrong with that? Now we got senators warn banks not to use recovery funds to starve gun businesses. So this is off of the gun feed. U.S. senators are warning big banks not to use the recent pandemic recovery funds as a bludgeon against industries they find out of fashion. In other words, don't use taxpayer funds as a weapon to score political points at the next corporate cocktail party. U.S. Senator Kevin Cramer, Republican, North Dakota, along with 18 additional senators, authored a letter to Secretary of the Treasury Steve Mnuchin and Jerome Powell, Chairman of the Federal Reserve, warning them not just that this could happen, but they fully expect it to happen. That's because they have seen it happen before. A small but vocal minority has weaponized federally backed banks against politically disfavored businesses that operate in good faith and compliance with the law by denying them financial services based on political reasons that have nothing to do with credit worthiness, wrote the 19 senators.
Yeah,
So
there's private grocers all across the nation that like trade SNAP benefits for money. Like you give them, you let them scan your card and they'll give you like 80% of the value in cash that they're cool with.
So this is just, that's the gist of it. It's they did mention specifically, they did mention certain banks, which is pretty nice to see it in print, that there were some banks that got warnings, that kind of thing. Citibank was one of them. Bank of America. It's a lot of the big ones. The 19 U.S. senators are right to demand answers and accountability. Banks have proven they won't use tax dollars to benefit taxpayers. They will use them, though, as a way to crush businesses they despise. So, I know we talked about this, and it was, and it kind of fell out of conversation a little bit, but I'm kind of glad it's back up. It's something that I kind of forgot that it happened, right? We kind of move on to the next thing. But I'm glad to see it brought up in conversation. For sure.
Well, politically,
Wasn't there? I don't know if it was ever confirmed, but with the first round of stimulus, of course, those who qualified got the $1,200, but there was also a chunk that went to banks, and they're supposed to loan out for this and that, and there were some of them that were adding tons of extra stipulations in in order to more or less make excuses as to why to not loan it out.
Well, and that's
So this
part
sounds
of
like
this.
kind of an extension of that.
Yeah. So specifically, the senators are asking Senator Mnuchin and Chairman Powell how the White House and the Small Business Administration is going to ensure the Paycheck Protection Program and SBA disaster relief funds are distributed in an unbiased manner. The senators also want to know how the Trump administration is communicating to the banks that now, more than any other time, isn't when banks should be paying favorites with money that isn't theirs, and what the administration SBA will do when it learns these banks do it anyway. So they're just, it's some senators that are getting together to try and hold banks responsible for misdeeds that they know they're going to do, or they have done in the past, and they assume they're going to do in the future. I think it's really good that they're calling attention to it, and especially to the president and some people like that, and let them send up a red flag, right?
but a lot of that money was supposed to go to small businesses, and a lot of large corporations got first pick, and then they had to admit that they really shouldn't have gone after that money because they got a little bit of leeway in the books, where these other companies are just waiting, trying to fill payroll, and a lot of them shamefully had to give it back, and then had not been ordered, they got to give it back.
Yeah, so what they're doing around here, which the governor put a kibosh to, is businesses were going in, mainly the firearms businesses were going in for the loans, and they're coming out going, okay, yeah, well, we'll give you the loan, but it's going to be like 16, 17, 18%. And it's like, Well, I don't think so, because you're getting this money for nothing from the government, and you're not supposed to be charging interest on it. Well, if you want the loan, that's what it's going to be.
Hmm.
And we're like, well, you kiss our ass because we ain't paying it. And they filed a complaint and they started looking into it. And it was like, oh, okay, here we go. But it was only the firearms industry.
Adding points, typical bankers.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. Well, and it was the bigger ones. It was Bank of America. It was Wells Fargo. The ones that are already so deep in the shit right now, it's unbelievable.
I never understood.
Yeah, it sucks.
I never understood personally why a lot of people when I hear they bank with BOA and Wells Fargo and some of these huge conglomerate banks. I'm like, they're so unfriendly and so hard to deal with when it comes to any issues you have that you need to resolve. It takes like 20 phone calls and literally just to even get somebody on the line that can handle you, as opposed to a local savings and loan. I bank with USA and a local bank as well, and I'm much more happier than dealing with even the smaller credit unions started becoming very competitive, even though they're supposed to help you, not them. They started getting really big on fees and all kinds of stuff that wasn't helpful to the consumer.
Yeah. So
For
let's.
basic banking, smaller loans, quote unquote smaller loans like auto, this kind of stuff. Yeah, I can see a lot of using the smaller ones. Start getting into the bigger, some of the lease around here, mortgage banks, this kind of stuff. Sometimes the smaller, even the credit unions, sometimes won't touch those. So I mean, not dealing with any of the big banks, sometimes your hand gets forced.
Now I hear you. It's inevitable. That's why they're in business for one point or another, and they succeed. I feel you.
But see, that's what the SBA is there for. Okay, the SBA was actually designed for these smaller businesses that can't get loans through the bigger banks that won't touch them, so on and so forth. And they've actually released that restriction because I actually applied for one through SBA. And I'm kind of in a holding pattern right now because they don't have the money. So, but yeah, but it's what the SBA was designed to do, was to give out loans to these smaller businesses that banks won't touch or don't have the credit that the larger banks want, or the assets, I should say. They don't care too much about credit, but if you have $3 billion in assets, they'll be more than happy to give you $100,000.
Yeah, right. So, Canadian assault weapons ban. Have you guys heard? Is there anything? I haven't been able to find anything on what they might have missed. Things that they didn't ban. Have you guys heard anything? I've looked through. I've skimmed through. There's like 1,500 things that they have banned, but is there anything that they can still own that might be of any note?
Canada already had a 5
From what
magazine ban on all rifles. Any magazine has to be pinned to 5 rounds. Way back.
Right.
From what I've heard, sounds like they covered most, if not all, of the semi-autos, and so it was kind of being limited down to your bolt-action, quote-unquote, hunting rifles. But now there's calls for even those to be banned, and that's from what I could pick up and what I was hearing. Sound like this ban didn't even go through their version of Congress. It sounded like Trudeau, who's their prime minister, just kind of on his own, an executive order style, to do this.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it was. I think it was just done, right? Yeah, and I know, I looked.
Yeah, he just did this on his own.
Yeah, like I say, I looked through it a little bit, and it's they do have quite a lot of I mean, a lot of it is listed, obviously. When you start getting into, M1As and Rugers, the minis, and, all that kind of stuff, you can't have mortars, rocket launchers, and anti-tank guns either. So I know that's probably got people upset they can't have mortars and rocket launchers. But then they do go down and say about, talk specifically about the Scorpions, the Rattler from SIG, the Beretta, the carbines like the Beretta CX4, the Storms, anything over 20 millimeters. The only reason anybody can have anything like that is if it's used for destructive devices, for like explosives and stuff.
They banned AR-15.com too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they banned ARFCOM specifically by name.
Huh. I didn't see that. The ARs, any derivative, obviously, all that kind of stuff. Even uppers, you can't have an upper. They specifically said you can't have any kind of upper because you could attach it to an illegal lower. They are doing it's a 2-year buyback. One of the things that and somebody said the other day, which was interesting. They said, "Oh, do you think we're going to see?" I think it might have been Yankees show. Do you think we're going to start seeing things down here from up north? You know what I mean? From Canada. And he said, "No, they'll just destroy them." Well, the police will, but they can dispose of them 3 ways. They can deactivate them, which I don't know what deactivating means to them. If that means cutting them in half, or if it means welding the barrel shut or whatever. I mean, there's different ways to deactivate things over the years. You could take it to a police officer, and I'm sure they'll destroy them. But you could also legally export them, apparently. So I'm interested to see what starts happening with that if American companies will be able to buy them at a better price than the buyback from the Canadian government would do. Glimtech, do you have any insight in this at all?
I can actually tell you what the Canucks are going to be doing that are actual snowbirds. And I know quite a few of them that live here in Arizona. Their stuff is already here.
Yeah.
They already brought their stuff down. They brought their stuff down over the summer. The Canucks are allowed to be down here 5 months and 29 days before they run out of before their insurance gets canceled, and they're down here 5 months and 29 days every single year over the wintertime.
I know.
So all their stuff is here.
I know a dude in Canada. He has a channel, popular channel, 314-299. A guy named Sean, and does a lot of rifle stuff. And he owns a Steyr AUG, and he's had that for years. And they got put on a restricted list to where you couldn't shoot it, and you couldn't sell it, and you couldn't export it. So it just sits.
Yeah.
And it was sitting in a safe. It still sits in a safe. I don't know now that he might have to actually finally get rid of it. But he couldn't do anything with it for past 6 years. I've known the guy. Just sits in the safe.
So, Glimtech, what
about the import export is for average citizens can't export them. It has to be done. The import export people can. So
right.
So I guess in theory, if Joe Schmo wanted to try to sell this stuff across to the U.S., they can take it to one of those and have them, have the import exporters sell it for them across the border. But yeah, just like you and I aren't, as my understanding, not Glim because he's a FFL, so he might be a little different, but the rest of us, can't just go sell, a firearm, even one that used to be legal in Canada. We couldn't have sold it to someone over there. It would have had to have gone through the process. I think this is coming back to me the same way.
So, Glimtech, what is it with international sales? Like when we were talking about this, can a person in Canada that owns a gun, could they sell it to a Canadian. See, I don't know how it works up there. They have FFLs basically. Can that FFL then sell it to somebody like you?
It's basically the same thing. They have interstate sales. The only problem is that's an import export license. So that runs into ITAR and all the other crap. So you have to have an importer's license for your
Right.
FFL. Same way with the Canadian FFL, they'd have to have an import export license as well. Again, run into ITAR at $25,000 a month. That's a little cost inhibitive for
Right.
for most
Right.
FFLs. But again, you have these people that come across and they come down here, and there's a lot of them. Stick a rifle in the trunk of your car, break it down, do whatever you got to do. Nothing saying the thing of it is, and the problem of it is, with most states, all you have to do is have proper ID to buy a firearm. It doesn't have to be a driver's license.
True.
You can have an ID. You can have an ID card, like here in Arizona.
Yeah.
A lot of Canadians buy guns here.
Well,
When you're living down here, they have property down here. They live in one of the 55 plus communities. They have a permanent address. They have an ID card. They can go in and get anything they want.
see, in Canada they can order a gun in Canada, individual if they have a license. I forget the license, the term for it. It's basically like a permit to own a gun, which is another freaking hurdle to go through. Many hurdles to go through. But once you get it, you can have a gun shipped to your house, literally a whole rifle, a pistol shipped to your house. Now, again, there's so many caveats to how you can use and operate that gun and all restrictions on it. But you literally can have anything shipped to your house at the door. And I don't know if that's going to change. I wouldn't doubt it. All the other stuff they got going on. But yeah, you can do that. I don't know if it's changed. I mean, to get a license in Canada, they do a serious background check to own a gun, to where they even contact your ex-wife. And, good Lord, people that have that went away with okay, and you guys are okay with your ex, fine. But there's a lot of people that don't have that kind of relationship, and they have to talk to her and see if she has something to say about it.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, Glimtech, regarding import. Maybe you know this. Currently, in the U.S., we cannot import Norinco firearms. However, they can in Canada. Can those Norinco firearms be sold to an importer from Canada, a U.S. importer, to import them from Canada, not directly from China?
No, because Norinco is on the ban list from the U.S.
I didn't know if that applied to used firearms that people were buying.
Yeah,
if an importer bought them up there or not.
Unfortunately, that's already been tried, and the reason I say when she said Norinco, I knew exactly where you were going, because I heard somebody actually try that once before, and actually they tried to do it through Mexico.
Okay.
They tried to get it imported. They said when they sent it out to Mexico, because Mexico accepted it, they tried to import it from Mexico into the U.S., and the U.S. put a screeching kibosh on that because it was on their quote unquote ban list. Same way with the
the Chinese SKSs, the Chinese SKSs that have been recently coming into the country, those are Chinese, but they've been sitting in Albania or someplace for years and years. I just wondered if the same thing applied to commercial sales. That's all.
Yeah. Well, Norinco had some sub company out of Turkey that they were making stuff out of. They were importing. That was as close as it got, from what I understand.
Yep. Now, Kalashnikov, they solved the whole problem. They opened up a manufacturing facility here in the U.S. So they sent all their stuff from the block, and they sent everything here, but it's being assembled here. So since it's assembled here, it's perfectly legal. So could that same thing happen with Karinkos? Absolutely. There's no reason why I couldn't.
And guy that comment says, so if it's not in the list, can they still have them if it's a Franken gun? No, because they actually have a quote in here thing in here that says regulations apply to all variants of the principal model, current or future, whether they are expressly listed or not. So they're just going to use that to say if it's. They're going to say the receiver is, the receiver of an AR-15 is whatever that is. That's what it's going to be. That's what the whole gun is going to be, a derivative of. Like they had Palmetto State Armory and all that kind of stuff on here. There is a grandfathering option. But I don't know. One thing I don't know about the grandfathering option is it in perpetuity? Like, is it forever as long as it's handed down, or is it just for a single generation? That I don't know.
Yeah, I know a dude that has a Chris Vector, and he's screwed.
So here's the whole problem with this, and the same way with any ban of anything. It's next to impossible to enforce. Unless you actually catch somebody with it, you're not going to be able to enforce it. And
Right.
if it's any kind of a grandfather clause in there, it's a moot point.
Well,
yeah.
Guess who's not going to pay any attention to all this crap whatsoever?
Well, exactly, and that's what I was going to say next. Okay, so you're going to take all these guns away from the law-abiding citizens, but guess what? The bad guys are still going to have them because they're bad guys and they don't care. That's what I want. I want a missile launcher.
Missile launcher 9K111. What is that word?
I think that one down there at the bottom's a Decepticon.
Starstreak. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Missile launcher M47 Dragon. That sounds cool. Stinger. There's a Stinger missile launcher. Yeah, you can't have those anymore.
Get a Javelin too.
Let me.
Is a Sherman
rocket launcher
tank on there?
10,000 joules. They talk about anything with a muzzle energy greater than 10,000 joules. I'm trying to let me see if I can find the grandfather clause if it states whether a lot of the stuff in the bottom here is issues. This is why they're doing it. Mass shootings in rural and urban areas, that kind of stuff.
A mass shooting.
They need to ban lighters actually. Because the dude at least half of his victims.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Canada has experienced a mass shooting, so we're going to ban everything because this gives us the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, that's where someone who was prohibited. Yeah, the guy was prohibited from owning firearms. One of the people he killed was a cop, and he stole the cop's firearm and used that as one of the weapons in his thing. Do you really think someone like that is going to care about this whole thing?
You mean he was a law-abiding citizen? Oh, come on! I find it hard to believe.
Make no mistake, folks.
See, because
this is what the antis want for us. Period.
Yeah, it's true. When I was talking on Friday night, when I was talking with G-Wedge on Daily Gun Show. He pointed out on Instagram that he follows. It's a Canadian Gun Vault, and that's where I went on Instagram. I was looking through the person's stuff, and this weekend they posted up. Apparently in Canada, some pseudo women's safety group or whatever was pushing. Well, since you're banning these others, you need to ban hunting rifles too because they're used for violence against women. Yada yada yada. So it sounds like the same kind of thing that they pull here all the damn time.
Yeah, they don't. They just say that the buyback would compensate affected owners for the value of their firearms after they are delivered to a police officer. Who's going to determine that value? I'm sure somebody that doesn't want to pay a whole lot for them. That AR is worth $10.
And turning over to law enforcement.
Right.
Not to say that I hate to put a bad name on law enforcement, but there has been a few of them. I think Budget had one on Moron of the Week not too long ago. Someone that worked for the police department who then was selling them out the back door to people that weren't supposed to have them. There is a chance
stealing them from the police academy gun shop and selling them to cops.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where. same kind of thing can happen there as well. I mean, so criminal is a criminal. I don't care what country they're from.
It says an option to participate in a grandfathering regime would also be made available for affected owners. So they don't specify what that means. Now, I highly doubt that they're going to let. Now, I don't know what that means, because does that mean that if you have one now, you can keep it until your death? Or does that mean you will be allowed to hand it down to to a family member? I doubt that. That's interesting that they didn't really specify what that means.
That means if you have $500,000, you'll be able to keep it
Right.
until you die. And then as soon as you die, the government is going to confiscate it. Unless, of course, your family comes up with another $3 or $4 or $5 million to keep it in the family. That's exactly what that means.
Or if you've got the right connections. If you're family, an extended family member of, someone high enough up on the food chain of the government, then you'll get to keep your stuff.
You'll never be able to shoot it or do anything with it, but at least you'll be able to keep it.
But in practice, what this really means is no guns for you.
Yep, but I guarantee you Trudeau and all the other guys are going to be running around with armed guards all the time. Guaranteed they're going to have their armed security everywhere they go.
They're important. The little people don't need that shit. Just, the politicians and the ruling class masters. I mean, I mean, the lawmakers and stuff.
You were right the first time. The wannabe masters.
Wannabe
kind of like,
they're pretty much accomplishing it.
That's right. I think was it Pelosi or Feinstein, I think, that was questioned on that one time about, well, you want to ban all these guns, but you've got armed security. How is that different? Like, well, and they came up with some kind of, something along the lines of, well, because of our position, we have real threats on our lives, so we have to have the armed security to protect us from it and this kind of stuff.
That was just a week ago with Cuomo.
Yeah,
when they had the interview in New York, that was the same thing he said. When they questioned him about when he was not Cuomo, the goofball who was running for president, the billionaire,
Bloomberg.
Goofball, goofball from the Northeast. We'll just leave it at that.
Oh, yeah. Well, Bloomberg said the same thing. Oh, well, that's because I'm a billionaire and I'm important and I have death threats all the time, so I have to have my armed security. No.
So the last group of things here is the disposal of the prescribed prohibited firearms is dependent on voluntary compliance by affected owners and businesses. Calculation of the compliance rate will be complicated by the lack of information about non-restricted firearms and their owners. The compliance rate for non-restricted firearms will be based on the number of owners who declare themselves to be in possession of one or more affected firearms. The amount of compensation being offered per firearm may also affect the level of compliance. Yeah, no shit. Communications are in place emphasizing the obligation on affected owners to comply with the new prohibitions, and further public communications on the compensation program will follow in the near future. There is also a risk that affected firearms owners may elect to replace their firearms with models unaffected by the ban, causing a market displacement. This risk will be mitigated by adding additional makes and models to the list of prohibited firearms in the future. The amendment to the classification regulations and the amnesty order come into force on the day on which they are made, so it's in force now. The amnesty order will expire on April 30th, 2022. Those who remain in possession of these firearms or devices at the end of the amnesty period could be subject to criminal liability or for unlawful possession. So, yeah. There you go.
So there's a risk that because we're banning these guns, they might buy other guns that we haven't banned, so we might want to ban more.
So we will ban them too.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's right there in black and white. Like they're going to buy other
I
stuff,
have
so
to
we'll
think
just
that if
we'll
I
ban
were
that then.
Canadian, I'd turn into a fucking terrorist immediately. I'm sorry. Fuck this shit.
This is a family show. Good Lord.
I'm just going to be interested to see how many people actually comply with this, which I'm going to
Well,
bet
yeah,
aren't going to be a whole hell of a lot.
it's going to be. Well, I mean, they say it right there too. The compliance, a lot of the compliance is going to depend on the amount of money too. They start trying to give out,
Exactly.
$150 for an AR. People are going to be like, "Suck it, man! No way. I'll stash it. I'll do what I got to do." The grandfathering thing, to me, the grandfathering thing is going to be a huge part of it too. And I can't believe that they don't have that in here anywhere that I could find about what the grandfathering is. Because that, even in America, they always put a grandfather clause in there because it gets more people to go along with it, to let it slip through and
They don't
to
need
let laws
anybody.
get passed. You know?
They don't need anybody
With
to
the,
go along with it. They have no right to bear arms.
right, I know what you're saying, but
It
yeah.
doesn't matter.
But you know what I mean. For people to go along with it more, if it's people will go along with it more if it's grandfather. They'll be like, okay, well, But if there's no grandfather clause, they get even more pissed off about it, and then shit hits the fan or whatever. And so I'm surprised that they don't have that in there to say what their grandfather clause is going to be.
I see a Canadian Revolution Part 2.
We'll see.
And that's where in with their and talking about with how many people are going to admit to it. That's where would not surprise me in the least if some of the older generation that was more attuned to the firearms that hadn't been indoctrinated as badly from as young probably be more likely to resist it. The younger ones that have more or less come up with the restrictions and well that's just kind of how things are, kind of like here.
Yep.
They're the ones that are more likely that are gonna bend to it because they've been ever since they were big enough to walk. They had someone teaching them that these things are bad anyhow.
Because they're bad.
Well, Matthias says they didn't grandfather bump stocks, and I said true. And after I said true, I was like, well, they didn't ban bump stocks either, right? Isn't that what they said? They said we never banned bump stocks. We never said that they were illegal. Assholes. They banned them and then said that they didn't.
Technically, they never did, and they never banned them. And the problem of it is they weren't legally allowed to do it anyway.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They have no
Yeah,
authority
exactly.
to do that.
Grandfathering is easy. Just find a grandfather and get him to write you a note for the
So the
feds.
bump
There you
stock
go.
was one of those either you turn it in, you destroy it, or you go to jail. Even though we have no jurisdiction to do any of that, but we're going to do it anyway because we think we're like God.
Well, so there's that. What happens? Can you sell ammunition across the border without a license, or no? There's going to be a shitload of ammunition up there. No, that's still the same thing.
That's where I was, because the reason I'm familiar with that is not, here last week or so, I was asking Alaskan Ballistics about, if he could get certain ammos, and that's where that's when he brought up that it has to be exported out, goes through Canada, and import back into Alaska. So I can tell you that, you can't just sell across the border, it has to go through import-export, just like firearms do.
Unless it would come in from like Washington by boat or something, if they would ship it in, which could happen. Because if you're going across country lines, there's all sorts of taxes and all sorts of shit. Ammo would be expensive as hell up there. I don't know what ammo prices are up there. Do you know? It would probably be cheaper to have it shipped in from like Washington State and up or something. At least then it's not going out of the country technically. It's crazy.
Assuming that there's
Nobody.
a shipper that will, put on a boat in U.S. waters and then take it over. But even then, I think they either have to cross into international waters or have to cross in Canadian waters. So there's probably some legality to that.
There could be, but I mean, there's so much shipping there's got to be a ton of shipping that goes between Washington and Alaska, just in food. You know what I mean? Just because of seafood and stuff like that. Um, I don't know. I mean, I would imagine because if you were shipping even food and stuff, I would think that you would have to. I don't know if you'd be able to go into another country's waters or not. That there might be laws about that. You might have to go into international waters. Then it would be all right. I don't know.
Yeah, but as you're floating up the coastline there, a couple of containers fall off the boat, and I hate when it happens. And
yeah, right.
they have to go out. People in British Columbia, they got to go out and retrieve those containers, because they don't want to let them up the bottom of the bottom of the ocean. So they got to go out and retrieve them.
Dredge them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did all that work, and damn, there was nothing in them. They were just empty containers. But at least we got them out of the water, so we're good.
Yeah. You're really doing your part to clean up the ocean. It's good for the environment.
That's right.
That's really what it is. I had a friend that was that when he got out of the Navy, he did for a couple of months. He did security on ships, on shipping, big freighter ships or whatever you want to call them, cargo ships, and they would have to do searches. They'd have to search the ship or whatever, and they'd have to open up all the Connex boxes or whatever. I don't know if they had to open all of them because there's thousands of them on some of those big ass ships. I think maybe his was smaller. I don't know. But he said they opened up one and it was just packed full of AK-47s one time. And he was like, holy shit. It was being imported probably to like Century or something like that. Or, they were going to do, turn them into, United States compliant AKs or whatever. But he was like, holy shit, look at that. How awesome is that?
It would suck if that container left one place with 100 cases and only got to its destination with 99.
Yeah,
so that would be a horrible job because I am a law-abiding person, but I would know
that
temptation.
Would be yep.
Yeah. I said the same thing. I was like,
it'd be a good possibility a crate would be falling overboard.
Yeah, I said the same thing. I was like, holy shit, man. How do people, he's like, no, people steal shit. He's like, I'm sure people take stuff, but I mean, you're making good money and you don't want to risk your job, I guess. I don't know. I mean, he was a good dude. He was an honest dude. And he was like, no, not that I know of. I've never seen anybody take anything, but he's like, I'm sure it happens. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Well, I guarantee in a port of calls that things disappear all the time.
Oh yeah. I would imagine that they probably even factor that into stuff. How much loss, how much, yeah, exactly. How much loss they're going to have. Like we ordered 10,000, we're probably going to get 9,800 or something like that. The other ones are going to wander off. I'll look out in the chat here, see if there's anything going on. Smuggle it in and out with the busloads of old people who go there to fill prescriptions from the States. Yeah. Here, Grandpa, take this with you.
Excuse me.
Here, you're already welcome to give anyway. Stick this in your prison wallet and take it with you.
Anti-gun Eminem detained home invasion suspect until police arrived. Did you guys hear about this one?
What?
Yeah,
Celebrity
Twitter feed
hypocrisy?
today.
It isn't so.
Yeah, right. Early reports are very vague, and the story keeps changing, of course. But I don't understand how he detained this guy without a firearm. His armed security was nowhere to be found. From the article, I put the article from the Daily Mail. It says, per the police report, an alarm system was activated during the break-in, but it was not heard by M&M security, who were, quote unquote, figuratively asleep at the front of the house. The man was verbally and physically detained by Marshall while security was alerted. An M&M associate told the Free Press.
He mesmerized the guy with his rhymes. That was it.
Yeah.
Started singing to him.
I guess.
Started rapping at him.
So, yeah, and he fell asleep. There's not much to. Doesn't talk about stuff a whole lot. And then this last article I had was something that people have been talking about. This Mississippi Attorney General is among those weighing on the mayor of Jackson's unilateral usurping of the Second Amendment rights of Jackson residents by banning the open carry of firearms during the state's emergency declaration.
I heard today.
I know a lot of people have been talking about that one. Say again?
I heard today that got reversed.
Did it? It did. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Roomba had to reverse it.
I bet that pissed him off.
Oh, I bet it did.
Well, yeah, considering he was being sued by NRA. Let's see, FPC, like 2 or 3 other
Everybody
ones.
and their brother.
Yeah. And including the old city council. The
state attorney general.
And the state attorney general said if he didn't reverse it, she was going to sue him.
Yeah,
he was going to court.
That's almost one of those where
he should be prosecuted for violating people's civil rights under color of law.
Yeah, there you go. I was gonna say what Budget just said. That's for okay, great. You reverse it because under threat of lawsuit, you should be prosecuted for it anyhow because you did something you knew you weren't supposed to be doing.
Piece of shit.
Yeah, it's a shame, just like New York, but unfortunately, that didn't happen.
Yeah. Well, it's good it got overturned. It would be nice to see something happen to people that are doing this kind of unconstitutional bullshit because, I mean, it's sort of the same thing as like the Supreme Court considering, New York's thing moot because they pulled the law. So, what happens to them, maybe nothing. So when somebody does something like this, when a mayor or anybody does something like this, and then they pull the law, it'd be nice to see something happen to them anyway because they did such a thing, and not just be like, oh, wash your hands of it and move on with your life, go about your business. It's bullshit.
They're up for election in 6 months, so
hope like hell.
There's a way to fix that. Yep, but there is hope. So hopefully tomorrow or sometime this week, the Supreme Court will be taking up some at least one, if not more, 2A cases.
Yeah, we should find out something about
that.
Yeah,
does anybody know?
They're actually saying maybe even something tomorrow, but on
they were saying tomorrow is they're talking about tomorrow being a day that they're gonna possibly announce something. Does anybody know what cases they are? There's 10 of them, but I don't know which one they are.
4 or 5 of them were concealed carry. There was an assault weapons ban, I think. Yes, there was half of them were concealed carry. There was one of them that was an assault weapons ban. Another one I think was a mag restriction. Another one I think was that would have challenged California's safe handgun because of the micro stamping. I want to say there was a couple more, but I don't know all the details.
Hold on a second. I'll get.
Fucking dumbass
I
microscope.
can get to a list here.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for here. There's a
Budget has a list, I'm pretty sure. But I know I don't know if that lady is. I don't know if that California lady is on that list or not. The one where they took their guns out of the house when their husband was arrested for domestic, and they refused to give her guns back. I think she's
Mance
in that
versus
too.
Barr.
There
A case which a Washington, D.C. based couple is challenging the federal transfer Second Amendment grounds after they were prohibited from purchasing 2 firearms from a Texas federal license without going through D.C.'s only licensed firearms retailer. Warman versus Healy, a Second Amendment challenge to Massachusetts ban on commonly owned modern sporting rifles. Amicus brief argues that lower courts disagree on what standard of review applies, and the standards articulated by 5 circuit courts of appeal are unconstitutional. And that's a commonly owned thing in there. Intermediate scrutiny standard has no grounding. Second Amendment gives judges unlimited discretion to approve and disapprove firearms regulations. Oh, that's 2 of them. They only say 2 of them here. You have the other ones there, budget?
Yeah. Hold on. I clicked the wrong button and chunked myself out.
and disconnected
No,
yourself.
that's cool. I
So did
they put
so
2 of them here. I
too.
thought they were gonna do all of them. I thought they were gonna do all of them, but they just did those.
What'd you do? Werman v. Healy and what?
Mance versus Barr.
So let me see. Mance versus Barr. You already got that one. Pena v. Horan from the Ninth. Get the hell out of there. Pena v. Horan from the Ninth Circuit. Challenge to California's prohibition on unsafe handguns, including microstamping. Gold v. Lipson. Challenge to Massachusetts May issue. Rogers v. Gruel. Challenge to New Jersey's May issue. Cheeseman v. Palillo. New Jersey's May issue. Ciolic versus New Jersey, another New Jersey May issue. Then you talked about what? Mance v. Barr. Okay. And then the other one, Warman v. Healy. Okay. Then Mapazzo versus Palazzi, challenge to Maryland's May issue. Culp v. Raoul, challenge to Illinois' ban on non-resident permits. And then Wilson versus Cook County, challenge to Cook County's ban on assault weapons and large capacity magazines. So there's 10 of them.
Well, all those New Jersey ones will get clumped into one if they take that.
Yeah.
That's all
Why would they take
stuff.
one and not the other?
So if they take the one, they're going to take them all.
Well, even if they don't take them, they will, ruling on one will effectively rule on all of them.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. Yeah.
I put a link to that article in reason.com out there in the private chat.
Okay. You can throw it in the YouTube chat there. I can. Here.
No, I was gonna say you can. I can't.
Do it. Why not? You're a mod, right?
No. Negatory Ghost
Why are you
Rider.
not a mod?
I don't know. You never gave me a wrench.
Why are you not a mod?
You don't have a wrench.
Horrors. Are you on my Patreon?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh,
that's probably why.
That's why you don't have a wrench. You bastard. You bastard.
It's just $1.
Copy link. Let's see what we got here. Let's see if I can put it out there. There we go. There's a list. Thank you for having that. That's nice. So it was a bunch of New York. It was a bunch of concealed, shall issue stuff from Jersey. It was
we can't
a
see
mag
anything.
restriction
I can't
in
anyway.
New York. What?
If you're trying to screen share this, we can't see it.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Oh, I guess I could though, huh? Here, let's see what's on here. Ah, bullshit. Get out of here with that nonsense. Pink says I beg for wrenches. I don't beg for wrenches. Challenging is May issue, unsafe. Oh yeah, Pina versus Haran, Ninth Circuit. Challenge to California's prohibition on unsafe handguns. So is that like the the roster thing? Would that get rid
Pena
of
is the handgun roster.
Okay.
That's the handgun roster and the micro stamping. Because what they're doing with that is, say you have case in point, a Glock Gen 4 is on their approved list. The Glock Gen 5 is not, because they they took away the finger grooves, and the thing of it is, all it matters is all they had to do is change a screw position, and it automatically null and voids it off the list. Because it has to be micro stamped under their quote unquote micro stamping rule and their law that doesn't exist, because you can't do it anyway. You can't micro stamp.
Mance versus Barr, challenge to federal prohibition on out of state handgun purchases. Right. Didn't you say there was one that was a mag restriction?
There's a bunch of them that are mag restrict. Well, two of them. One for Maryland's and one for Cook County, Illinois.
Oh, yeah, okay. Wilson versus Cook County, challenge to Cook County's ban on assault weapons and large capacity magazines. Assault weapons. Cool. Man, I mean, those are pretty big cases, man. Like when you start seeing ban on assault weapons in Massachusetts, if that would go through and that would roll through the country. So what happens if they rule on the Massachusetts ban and they say that, that it's unconstitutional to ban assault weapons and large capacity magazines? Does that mean every state would have to bring up their own case, or would that roll across the country? What happens with that?
That rolls across the country.
Does that make sense?
If it hits one and it's one that's found unconstitutional, it's all unconstitutional. So that means Florida, California, New Jersey, New York.
When they make that ruling, does it just happen, or do they have to actually take them? Does each state have to take it to court? Each state would have to take it to court, right?
Wait, what?
If the Supreme Court rules on it.
If the Supreme Court rules on something, it is the law of the land across the fruited plain from sea to shining sea.
There's no appeals. There's no appeals. There's no second guessing anything. If they rule on it, that's it. That's done. Kaput.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, that would cover New York, D.C., Jersey, California.
Okay. That's what I wasn't.
Man, I've been everywhere.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. Would every state have to have the court say that for their state, or would it just happen? Okay. Yeah, that's pretty huge.
It'll just happen.
Yeah. We should know Monday morning whether there is a new grant. Inevitably, the local governments will try to moot the case again. Oh, they're talking about the New York thing, I guess.
Yeah, so I wasn't.
All right.
I wasn't super upset about the NYSRPA case being rendered moot. I had hoped it wouldn't, but I feared it would be. because there are better cases coming up that would definitely be applied more broadly than that narrow bit of law. I mean, when you're talking about shall issue versus may issue, that's that's countrywide. That has way bigger implications.
The other one that's going to be a big
thing
one too
that's
is
so
going to
weird
be
about the New
interstate
York
handgun sales.
Yeah, that one's huge too.
That's going to be huge. That's going to be real huge.
meaning that you could buy a handgun in another state.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that means you can go
The
from
thing with
Pennsylvania
the-
to New Jersey or to Maryland and buy a handgun and take it back with you, because right now you can't do that. You'd have to have it shipped to your FFL.
Mhm.
I mean,
Right.
that's huge for like people that live in DC. You know, they have
True,
one
yeah.
place they can go. It's garbage.
Right.
And that's the police department right now.
So, yeah, because that guy went out of business. The one FFL guy, he's out. He's done.
Yeah, so now all of a sudden now states can just arbitrarily make the police departments FFLs, so they don't have to bother going through the feds anymore. They can just wave their magic wand and go, you department, you are now an FFL. Congratulations. Yeah.
The New York thing that they deemed moot, and I can understand why they didn't see the case, I guess, because, and Rich said it in somebody's chat the other day I was listening to. He said, how can you rule on something that's not a law anymore? And that makes sense, I guess. But that was such a weird law. Like, you were only allowed to take it to a range and back, or and not out of the city. There's only like 7 ranges or something, or 6 ranges that you were allowed to go to. Like, it was so restricted. It was crazy. It was such a weird law to restrict people's movements with their firearms. It was different than anything I've ever heard of. It was so weird. So that one definitely I would have.
Well, yeah,
I would like that one to get ruled on, because that's crazy.
Well, that's why they did that, because they knew damn well they were gonna get that one thrown right back in their face, and that was gonna get overturned in the Supreme Court. They knew that for a fact. That's why they pulled it and they changed it. Because they knew it was going to go. They knew they were going to lose, and that would have affected everywhere across the country, because they were told by Soros and Bloomberg and the rest of those guys, you need to pull this because it's going to screw us up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exactly what they did.
Should have ruled on the merits of this case anyway, just to prevent that kind of bullshit. That kind of manipulation.
If you actually read the dissents from the judges, they kind of did.
Yeah.
Yeah. They because they all said the same thing. Yeah. They withdrew this law, and he did it purposely because they knew they were going to lose. But we're just going to take something else here and screw you over, and get it right.
Is there any? I don't really know. I'm not like a law guy for sure. I'm not great at this stuff. But is there any other precedent of laws that have been revoked and then ruled upon after their revocation like that? I mean, is that something that has ever happened? I don't really. I don't know.
I don't know, but it's the Supreme Court. Sure. They're the ones that set precedent. They're the ultimate setters of precedent.
I mean, I guess
it isn't like they're bound by anyone else's precedent. They're the Supremes.
And really, when you think about it, I guess what would be wrong with them saying, "Hey, if somebody ever does this again, we're going to do this so nobody ever does it again." Like, what's wrong with that? I guess, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's being proactive.
Well, like I said, with the dissents that they issued, they basically said in all uncertain terms, that's basically what they're going to be doing. They're going to be taking these Second Amendment cases because the lower courts are just walking over their decisions and not abiding by the Constitution. So they're going to set the precedent and end this finally, hopefully.
Yeah. How do you guys think it'll go? Like, I mean, do you think the Supreme Court is pro-gun enough to allow to get rid of all this May issue bullshit? And what do you think's going to happen?
I wonder.
4 out of the 7 are so.
What'd you say, Giz?
And even
I said I wonder sometimes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, from the last couple dissents that I've read, 4 out of the 7 seem to be very pro-Constitution, and even Ginsburg, she even threw in a couple of screwballs in her dissents too, and it's like, yeah, Ruth, is this you? You sure you're feeling okay? Apparently not, because she was actually kind of siding with the other judges and the actual Constitution, which is kind of weird. But maybe she's changing in her old age. Maybe those scrapes with mortality woke her up maybe a little bit.
Or maybe she just forgot which side she was on.
Good point. True. That's probably more the case.
I know that was mean, but hey.
She's been hanging around Biden too much.
Yeah. Biden, man. Boy, that guy. I'll tell you what.
She got hickeys?
I cannot. The amount that the media and you want to say the left or whatever is ignoring this stuff with Biden is just unbelievable. Like,
we should believe women.
I've never seen such hypocrisy. Yeah, exactly. Like with you see, with Kavanaugh, Biden is pounding his fist saying, we must believe all women, literally, quote unquote, believe all women, believe women always, or whatever the fuck he said. And now it's just
except this bimbo and that bimbo and the other bimbo.
Except this one. This is
and all the videos of these little girls being creeped out by me. Forget about all that.
Yeah, man. I mean, there was who was it? Was it a senator or a governor just resigned because of the stuff that he said?
Yeah.
Because of the stuff that he said about it? Was that a senator?
Yeah.
Do you remember the name?
Yeah, because he basically his comment was basically these are credible accusations and they need to be investigated.
Yeah. He said some bullshit. He said some stupid bullshit. Basically said that you can't. I mean, he basically said that what they're accusing Biden of doing is impossible. Like, you can't do that. What was that? Was he a senator?
I think it was. All I know is I just saw they just released that a couple hours ago. They actually have apparently they were looking for.
Here we go.
Yeah, there you go. I guess they were looking supposedly they were looking for quote unquote witnesses that were working for him at the same time, and they couldn't find anybody. But miraculously, 3 just showed up. And actually came forward and said, "Yeah, we were working there. We were there. We know what happened." It's like, oh, not good.
Mm-hmm. So, Democratic lawmaker resigns after tweet about Biden accuser. The New Hampshire state representative The New Hampshire state representative posted a tweet, it's supposed to be, that a woman's anatomy would make it difficult to digitally penetrate her without some cooperation from the female herself. So this guy's an open mouth insert foot. Holy shit. The tweet, since deleted, prompted House Speaker Steve Shurtleff to call for Comey's resignation late Friday over what he described as an outrageous and offensive tweet about sexual assault and survivors of sexual assault. Yeah. And then he apologized and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I don't know what the hell this guy was thinking, saying the shit that he said, but he's no longer a senator.
Yeah, well, he was trying to spin it to make it look like she was actually a willing partner, a willing part of it.
Sure, of course. I mean,
Coverage
of
show.
course that's what he was doing. But holy shit, insinuating that well, it's just like somebody saying, oh, look how she was dressed or whatever.
She was asking for it.
She was asking for it. Yeah, she was asking for it. Look how she was dressed or something, some dumb bullshit like that.
You liked it.
Yeah. Yep. It's a good way to end your career right there. There are people out there. Yeah, there are people out there saying they believe. Okay. I said that Matthias said there are people out there saying that they
go.
I don't know who's got a lag. One of us has a lag. Yeah, Matthias says
too much of a delay. Go.
They're read about beating Trump is more important. Yeah.
You got red bars, so.
Yeah, I do. I see it. That's probably me lagging or something. Then. Seven Wonder says, I think RGB might be chilling with Kim Jong-un. You think Kim Jong-un kicked the bucket or no?
No, he was actually seen today. He was actually out in public today.
Was that him or
was
double?
It? Oh, shit.
Is it live or is it
I guess you never know.
Yeah, first time in public in 20 days.
Let's see. Well, if there's anything else I didn't have anything else pulled up. Anybody have anything out in the chat? You guys have anything? Anything to talk about? Anything you want to bring up?
Well, now they're blaming they're blaming American extremists now are trying to turn the coronavirus pandemic into a potent recruiting tool just because people aren't putting up with communist BS.
Well, I was interested to hear that it's believed that it got out of the biolab in Wuhan. I don't know, like that's one of the conspiracies that I kind of went along with right from the beginning. I was like, man, it just makes too much sense that shit didn't get out of a facility like that. So.
Well, of course, this total asinine article is coming from McFarr, head of the New York Times, who is a complete total communist asshole. Yeah, well, when you put out an article that's titled "Virus Becomes a Battle Cry for U.S. Extremists," and on the front, in the picture that they're showing is a tractor trailer saying "Make trucking great again." What's so extreme about that? Yeah. What's so extreme about that? What? Because we aren't going to listen to your communist bullshit and bow down to your crap?
Story about a
Listen, all you
sig
peasants need to
rattler.
know your place and stay in it. That's just it. Know your
Yeah.
place and stay in it.
And yeah, like I said, the other one too, virus ravages some areas, spares others. Race, class spell the difference. Well, yeah, because when the virus hits like New York City, what's mostly there? Hello? It has nothing to do with race. It just happens to be what happens to be living there.
Hey, Budget, was Young versus Hawaii one of those that was listed?
No.
I don't think it was.
No,
Was
it
it?
was not.
Because here's an article of Young versus Hawaii, which is a May issue thing too. And I know Hawaii was the same way.
Yeah.
Hawaii is considered like one of the hardest places in the whole United States to get a firearm.
Yeah, they almost never issue them.
Yeah.
Rotten bad.
So that would be another one that would be pretty hugely affected.
Bigly?
Bigly, yeah. Biglish.
Oh,
Biden set to head most anti-gun ticket ever. Yeah, no shit.
Here's one for you for moron of the week. Your budget.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, man arrested 3 times in one day and released by California's coronavirus-based zero bail policy.
There you go.
I don't know who should
was
get
arrested
the
on Wednesday.
award, him or the people that let him go.
Yeah, there you go.
No, but definitely the people let him go.
Yeah, people let him
Wednesday,
go for sure.
they responded and they arrested the guy for this guy breaking into a vehicle in San Gabriel Valley. He was issued a citation and released. An hour after that, let's see, he allegedly was taking items from a resident's front yards. They arrested him, cited him, and let him go again. And then later that night, he was stole a car and was driving a stolen car. Awesome. Caught, cited, and released again. Yeah.
Well, you got to be good at something. You might as well be good at getting arrested.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's just working here. I mean, trying to make a living.
Yeah.
He's got 5 kids to feed. Come on, man.
I got 5 kids to feed. Come on, Benny.
Bonus points if you know what that's from.
Do you have any takers?
Mm-mm.
It's an Arnold movie.
Yep. And it's been on quite a bit recently.
I might completely remember it. See what I did there? Total Recall, folks. Total Recall is a taxi driver. I got 5 kids to feed.
It's been a long time since I've seen that.
Until the end, they only had 4
Culturally.
kids to feed.
Yeah. Despite fewer passengers, TSA reportedly finding more guns. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's 14 kids, Rob says. All right. So we are out of topics. Seems like kind of a quiet night, so I think we shut it down here and get some sleep.
Sounds good to me.
Pickle already took off on us. I still got this headache, so I wouldn't mind laying down. Take some more nummies and see if I can go to sleep. So, Gizzard, what's going on with you, buddy? How was the show this morning, by the way?
Oh, it was pretty good. Didn't have near as many people as we had the week before and stuff like that, but had a pretty good discussion going on. Huh?
Good. The weather's pretty nice. People might have been outside running around.
Yeah, a lot of people are getting some freedom for the first time going out and doing stuff. That's all cool. Whoever can make it, make it.
Mm-hmm.
And so other than that, might put a couple videos out this week, see if maybe I can do a couple word from the birds that are actually good. I'll do my best anyway. And then we got Foul Territory and Early Bird as scheduled. And,
Plug them.
About all that's going on. Thanks for the invite.
Plug them. No, absolutely. Glimtech, what do you got going on, buddy?
Nothing much. Shoot next weekend. Wife has eye surgery tomorrow. Other than that, not a whole hell of a lot. Thank you for the invite. Hopefully everybody has a good week.
Yeah, absolutely. Turkey Slayer.
Thanks for the invite.
Pabo.
Thank you for the invite. I
turkey.
appreciate it. Great show tonight. As far as what I got going on, I will have the video for the Great Turkey Slaying up soonish when I get a chance to work on it. It's almost done. I just got a couple other things to add to it. And coming up in the near term will be a review on the Ruger PC Charger and the PSA AKP GF3. I know EIEIO, right? But yeah, so I got those coming up. A couple other things I got. I will be also here. Let me turn the camera on for this. I will also be reviewing this. What's in this box? Which is that they said to me. With the caveat being, in full disclosure, I did some consulting work with these guys on the next generation of this. So they asked me, hey, you want to take a look at our first generation? So I said, sure. But I will be reviewing this. And I already told the guy, hey, if it sucks, it sucks. I'm going to tell everybody it sucks. So
true story. That's a way to roll.
But yeah, I've got that stuff coming up. Plus some others. I've got a Boyd stock review I have to do.
Oh, cool.
Going to be putting out a video on this shortly, which I bought for my AK. Shit, what else? I got a couple other things I got a bunch of stuff in the works and not enough time to do it.
Yeah,
which
Boyd's
I guess
makes some nice stuff, man.
What's that?
Boyd's makes some really sharp stuff, man.
Oh yeah. It's one that I got sent to me through Gear Report. It's their Spike Camp. I got it for the Savage Axis as part of my budget precision rifle project, because the first thing you really have to replace on that Axis is the stock, because it's absolute trash. It's flimsy and flexible. I mean, you can't bear forward on a bipod on it because it just bends because it's such a cheap plastic. But the bones of it, the action, the barrel, the bolt, all that good stuff on the Axis is pretty good. Trigger sucks, and the stock is just wretched. So
yeah.
Got a comment says I'm working for Benchmade. No, it's Wooks, not Benchmade. And I'm not working for them. I just did some consulting work.
I super excited to get that scope.
Did it get there?
I don't know. I haven't had a chance to get to the PO box. I tried to sneak it. I tried to go the other day. because I saw some other people had gotten some of the stuff from me, so I thought, ooh, maybe it's there.
Yeah, it should
And
be
I
there.
went, and they were already closed. Yeah, they were already closed. So the PO, they closed at like 2, and it was like 2:30 till I got there. I wanted to get. I thought about it too late to get there on time, and then they're closed on Sunday. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll get a chance to go down. I'd like to get a chance to run down tomorrow, maybe, because then I could maybe do the work tomorrow. I really want to get that scope mounted because I'm really excited to do the lapping and that kind of stuff. So
You are using the United
I've
States Post Office, right, for your PO box?
yeah.
Because the lobbies never close. They're 24. Those lobbies should be open 24 hours. The lobbies
I
where
don't
your
think
PO
so.
boxes are.
Of course, the package may or may not fit in the PO box depending upon how big a one
Well,
you got.
what
No,
they do
they're going
is
to do that.
they give you a key.
They're going to put that in. They're going to put a key in there for your
Yeah,
uh,
for a bigger box.
for one of the bigger boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
So I'm pretty
because
sure your lobby, as I say, every post office I've ever been to, the lobbies for the PO boxes have always been open 24 hours.
Yeah, this not this one for sure because I've tried to go there before and the doors have been locked. So it must they must
really
have their own.
Pennsylvania then. I
Yeah.
bitch.
No. What are they going to give a shit if I bitch? But I've never,
Bitch anyway.
I bought this lapping. Yeah. I have this lapping set and I haven't had a chance to use it yet. So, and I decided that I'm going to do, because the rifle was a gift, and I used a gift card to buy the scope mount, not the rail, the mounting, the one piece rail, and I got the scope from you, and so I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this as cheap as possible, and I went to Walmart and I bought an $8 set of rings. So I'm going to mount these cheap ass rings and lap them and see what kind of accuracy I can get out of a rifle that I have almost no money in.
Sweet.
Yeah, I thought that'd be super cool. Like, how much more budget can you get?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and it's a good rifle. I mean, it's not a cheap rifle. I'm lucky that it's a really nice gun. But other than that, like, how cheap can you do it? You know what I mean? So I thought that'd be kind of fun. I'd love to have it be super accurate and be like, hey, look at this. I got $20 in this thing or $30 in this thing, and that's it. So that'd be pretty sweet. So I'm hoping I might be able to run down and get it tomorrow. If not, I'll get it on the way to work Tuesday and maybe be able to do the work on it when I come home from work or something, and maybe shoot it next week. But we'll see. So I did want to mention too. A couple weeks ago, you talked about Gear Report. A couple weeks ago, I mentioned it. Toby Gross had gone live, done a live stream 2 weeks ago. He did another one is it Friday? Thursday or Friday? Thursday or Friday, he did another live stream, and it was really good. They're very informational. It's under the channel's under his name.
Mining Ridge
Toby
Armory.
Gross. Yeah, but I think it's under his name.
Okay.
It's his personal Toby Gross, TOBYGROCE. Check him out. The last couple of weeks, I don't know what he does on his other channels, but this one is basically informational, all about situational awareness and this past week was about basically churches and security in churches and stuff like that. It's very interesting to listen to. So I suggest you go check that out. It's a good one to listen, and he's a very calm and laid back kind of guy. And it's if you're interested in the topic, I think you'll like it. So check that out. So I appreciate it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Guys, thanks for joining in. Until next time, I will see you, and take it easy.